You know, I'm really looking forward to driving through Yalwal. I've heard it can be pretty tough in places, and it rained here just the other day. That's even better. But I tell you what, I wish I had old Milo along. I mean, you know, with the lockers and everything else. This old girl's got nothing like that. It's got the Mickey Thompson tyres and a couple of inches of lift. So if that's you, it'll be interesting to see where it'll go. But the best thing I've got along, apart from the recovery gear in the back, is the guys from the Shoalhaven 4-wheel drive club. You better meet them and have a look at their trucks before we go, eh?
G'day, I'm Manny. Got a Nissan Patrol with 35s under it, and I'm here to recover Roothy.
G'day, I'm Brad. This is my Toyota Hilux, running 33-inch tyres, and I'm here to recover Manny.
G'day, I'm Johno on the short wheelbase Suzuki with 13-inch tyres. When these blokes finish mucking around, I'll get them all out, don't you worry.
With fuel prices going through the roof, we're all looking to get a bit more bang for our buck. That's why this month I've come down from Queensland to show you Sydney side as a beaut little weekender where you can have plenty of fun and get away from the city without spending an arm and a leg on fuel. It's just a couple of hours south of the Big Smoke and a little bit inland from Nowra, and that's where you'll find Yalwal. Used to be a busy gold mining area, but nowadays it's just a gold mine for us four-wheel drivers. Leading the way is Brad in his awesome Hilux. It's got plenty of flex and lift to get through just about any track. Brad built this thing himself and it's fantastic. Manny's Patrol is a fairly seriously tough truck too. Very, very capable. It proved to be unstoppable on this track. But you know what? Johno Suzuki, that's the real pocket rocket with plenty of go. It might not look too mean, but with Johno behind the wheel, it is impressive. It'll go anywhere. I fell in love with Suzukis over this weekend. I just couldn't believe it. Talking about rockets, well, my rocket's had a lot of changes since you last saw it. I've tweaked it here and there and done all sorts of fancy things, but in the coming months you'll see a lot more changes too. A trip like this really shows how much difference a few aftermarket accessories can make to your four-wheel drive. A diff locker and a bit of lift not only gets you to more places, but it makes the trip safer, quicker and a whole lot more comfortable on the way through. I'm still a long way off putting diff locks into the rocket though. I've only just got the back sorted out. Do you like that? I made it over at Trackabout. Isn't it a beauty? We made it out of trailer panels. Haven't seen anything done like that before. I think sometimes maybe Johnny Trackabout and I drink too much for our own good. A couple of Ks in and the first really tough section of the track, and out came the recovery gear to haul the troopy out of trouble. We normally take a rental troopy along on these trips, and you don't normally get to see it. I guess that's because we try and keep it out of camera all the time. But with the standard tyres and standard height and the tracks down at Yalwal, we were pulling the recovery gear out all the time to get this troopy through. Brad's Hilux, with all the work he's done to it, just goes pretty much anywhere. It made it look easy, to be honest. It just walks. The old rocket, on the other hand, with no diff locks and, you know, not much else. Not even a lot of power. It made it look a little bit difficult, I guess, but to be honest, not having much power in a situation like this isn't such a bad thing. You can't get into a whole lot of trouble. The best trick, I guess, to driving a track like this when you don't have diff lockers and everything else is to make sure every time you have another go, pick a slightly different track. Sooner or later you're going to find the option that works best for you. In this case, it's the side beads or side tread lugs, whatever you want to call them, on the Mickey Thompsons that really kicked it forward. In fact, they did several times over this trip. Those tyres are really quite exceptional. They made all the difference. The rocket went everywhere. Well, nearly everywhere. I'm in love with my new trade back too. Notice how much ground clearance the back axle's got. That means I'm going to be able to really play with this one, get something happening. I guess the big shame of it is, as you know and I know, Milo would have waltzed up this hill, a little bit of throttle, and that was it. It would have gone straight to the top. But the rocket's not Milo. I might get it close one day, but I don't know. It's never going to beat the old girl, is it? That green truck's something special. Wasn't long before the rocket was stuck though. You get that, no diff locks on a bad day, but never mind. Well, the old rocket got that far. That's not bad. It did really well actually. I'm pretty surprised. There's only about another 5-10 feet of really hard stuff. Brad's already sailed through, so we're just going to use the hand winch just to nudge it over those rocks and get on out of here. I'll tell you one thing about all hand winches is they get better after you've used them a few times. This one's really good actually. That's the easiest I think I've ever put one through without breaking it. You know, some people reckon because you're using a hand winch you can chuck out all the normal procedure. Well, that's not the case at all. You're using a hand winch, sure, but you're still pulling a couple of tons of truck on the end of a wire rope. And that's why you need to make sure that, you know, your restraining end is very good. Now, we've picked a nice big thick tree here. Make sure you do get a live tree. You don't want to be pulling on a dead stump, okay? They just collapse, fall out of the ground. That's a good tip, but I'll tell you another tip. Always pick someone stronger than you to do the winching. Hey, Johno, you want to do this, mate? I need to drive the truck. Someone's got to do it, mate. Good on you.
That'll be right. Here comes the first of the recoveries that I've got to do.
And the last one will be in the bar tonight with a bit of luck.
You reckon?
If you don't have a winch mounted on your four-wheel drive, then make sure you get one of these hand winches. I went 20 years without a winch on the front of a truck, and the hand winch got me out of everything. Okay guys, looks like we're going to be here for a little while, so we'll see you after the break. Come on, Johno, put your back into it. Oh, these younger guys, they haven't got it like us old fellas, have they? Come on, mate, put your back into it.
Don't go away. After the break, Roothy continues his Yalwal adventure.
Roothy's beer allowances, gone. Sub-skiffs, gone.
Righto, Weasel.
Oh, Roothy.
It's time you and me had a little chat. Well, the accounts department seems to be in agreement. Look at the deal we've got for you. Slow and steady's the best way to tackle rocky climbs, but I guess I really don't have a choice with the 2H motor in the red rocket, do I? Oh, what a beast. It's got about as much power as a Briggs & Stratton on a diet, this thing. The old green mean snatch strap got an awful lot of work on this trip, but most of it was pulling the troopy up. The rocket didn't need that much help. No, all right. Ah, it's always great. It's always good fun. Do I look like a man who loves his job? You better believe it. Tough tracks need tough trucks, and these guys from Shoalhaven Club don't muck around. But when Johno Suzuki got hung up here, well, by crikey, you can see it, it's just teetering. It's a bit hard to see how steep this slope is, you know. By crikey, I thought it was going to go. I think if we go off the front left-hand side here on the Manny's truck, that'll stop you from turning over. But I think we might bung a tree trunk protector in there too, maybe on your roll bar. Yeah. And we'll just get a bit of handheld over here. When Johno Suzuki got stuck on this rock, we thought we'd better drag him up the last few metres rather than let him roll it over. Amazing cars. They're just amazing cars. If you hadn't hit the bank, she would have sailed her. I'm going home to buy one. Ready? Too easy. Like pulling a pram up a set of steps.
Hanging out in town with dudes I've never met. Taking in what surrounds us. Decided to go out shopping.
There's some pretty tough stuff here in Yalwal, especially when it's been wet for a while. Now, a rocket cope with most of this, which, you know, once again is just a great way of saying suspension and tyres are the way to go. That and a hand throttle. Look at the way Manny's truck walks his stuff though. And Johno's Suzuki, I mean, with that slightly narrower track, he had all sorts of different options. He could find traction just about anywhere. I can see why people fall in love with Suzukis, I tell you. I did by the end of this trip. Brad's truck, well, that's engineering at its best, isn't it? I think the whole trick to real hardcore four-wheel driving is to stay steady on the throttle. I know that's what works for me. Steady on the throttle, pick your line. If the line doesn't work the second time, go back and do it again. Pick another line. Find something. You'll always find something. And don't forget the sides of your tyres. If you've let your tyres down to 16 pounds or so, like I have, then you're going to find traction all over the place. It's really quite amazing what you can find. It'll mean you get bogged a little tougher too, of course. But hey, who cares? That's what it's all about, isn't it? What's going on, Johno?
Oh, I seem to have cut the tyre on the bumper bar back here when I flexed up back there.
Oh, okay. What had just happened back down here?
Oh, I think so. I'm not sure.
Because these are the wrong wheels, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
So what's it touching on? Oh, okay. In there, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Mate, you're in luck. I've got the Suzuki fixing tool here.
No worries, mate.
I borrowed it off Manny. He's been using it to do some paddle beating on the track.
I'd rather have no future than work until.
There's nothing like drum brakes when it comes to filling them up with mud. Who cares? At least around here I had plenty of options. Oh, the Suzuki's a balancing trick in its own right, isn't it? Why do patrols always squeak like old women when you tread on their... Oops, I can't say that, can I? Oh, Struth, all this driving has made me hungry. What about you blokes?
Come on, I'm starving.
Good on you, Manny, man after my own heart. I reckon we'll pull over and knock up a barbecue, eh? And we'll catch you guys after the break. Have you ever had a steak sandwich that was a bit average? Well, I have, in just about every second bowling club or sausage grill around. But it's really easy to do a good one, a really good one. And we're out here in the bush, and that's exactly what we're going to do. In fact, I'm going to show you the idiot-proof way of cooking a steak sandwich. Now, you need a marinade. You really need a marinade. This is oyster sauce. Soy sauce is good too. Oyster's my favourite. I'll just give it a good old splash of this. And then honey takes the place of sugar, and roughly about the same amount, maybe a bit less. And then the good old Worcestershire sauce. Don't need too much of that, just a good little trickle. Now all I've done is dump it on top of each other. I'll just cut these down into slightly more manageable portions. Now that's it, okay? That's how simple it is. I've had the Weber sitting over here for about 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. With one of these lid down barbies, you actually cook with the lid down, okay? These things have got their own technology, their own technique, and it's all about timing. You literally can't get it wrong. The thing's nice and hot because it's had the lid shut. In go the steaks. Now this is all about timing. You can't get it wrong. I'm going to shut the lid, 5 minutes. Just forget about it for 5 minutes. Let me see, 5 minutes, that's a couple of beers. All right, now while we're doing that, we're just making steak sandwiches, but we want to dress them up a little bit. So, pan, we get the onions really well cooked in some butter. A little bit of a trick here. Grind a bit of rock salt in. Put it in now. It'll just sort of cook in. Okay, the onions are nicely brown now. We're on about the 5-minute mark, 5 and a little bit. That's perfect. In go the mushrooms. Give them a bit of a stir. Now, I have not lifted the lid on this barbecue since I put the steak in, okay? That's the critical thing when you're using a lidded barbecue like the Weber Q. Over we go. Righto, bingo. Need another 4 or 5 minutes. You get used to the timing, but it really is all about timing with a lidded barbecue. With mushies, you need them to sort of hit the stage where they've just reduced themselves. If you watch them, you can see them. They sort of shrink. And there they go. They just hit that stage and they start to shrink. It's great. What have we got in there? We got butter. Cooked the onions in the butter with a little bit of salt. We added some mushroom. I hope you like horseradish. I hope everyone likes horseradish. I love horseradish. Put a good old whack of horseradish in there. And give it a stir. I don't have a name for this. I really don't. If I did, it'd be something like tongue-tingling steak sandwiches or something like that. Well, we're right on the 5-minute mark here, second time around. You'll notice I haven't opened the lid on the barbie except to flip the steaks. Let's get into it. Everything's ready. Oh, they look really good. A little bit of our special mixture. Don't need too much. Horseradish is pretty strong. Actually, if you're making this for the kids, you can sort of just forget that bit, you know. Just give them the steak or the sausages and tomato sauce. So my kids actually prefer sausages. Hard to believe. Anyway, look, bread. You can get so many different kinds of bread these days. I love the stuff with rocks in it, so I force it on everybody else. Come and try one of these. Come on, John, Manny. In you come.
Quite good stuff, mate. Looks good.
Hey, looks is one thing. It's what it tastes like.
Oh,
Have a go at that.
That's beautiful.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you can pick up your brown paper bags with the cash later on then. Well, with the horseradish doing a couple of burbles in the old belly, we got back into the trucks for the final run to the top of the hill. And you could feel the darkness of the valley closing in just as we hit this really rocky climb. I tell you what, how could you beat a day like this? Just when you think things can't get any better, they stick one more hurdle right in front of you. That's what I love about four-wheel driving. There's always a challenge. There's always a challenge. You're always in the bush. Sometimes you feel like you're conquering the bush, and the rest of the time you just feel like you're part of it. There's nothing better than that, is there? And when you can do it in trucks like this, like my $4,000 banger and Johno's Suzuki, you know, you don't need an awful lot, just some good tyres and a bit of suspension, and you're off and away, finding places that are just too good to be true. Oh wow, what a view. Manny, this is absolutely awesome, it really is. But I don't know where we are.
Well, this morning we started off those power lines there. We've come down through the valley and up through here, up to the lookout here. So
he's made it sound so easy, hasn't he? It's been an awesome track. It's been one of the best tracks I've driven on. It's incredible, beautiful country. I don't know what we're going to do to top this off. I really don't. If you guys want to find out, you can check out the website and have a look at the newsletter. Then you'll know. I want to thank the guys from the Shoalhaven 4-Wheel Drive Club. You've been fantastic, fellas. You really have.
Thanks, man.
Oh, look,
thanks for coming.
It's just a joy. I'll be back. Watch out. And I'll see you guys later. Good on you. Thanks, Johno. Excellent.
Thank you, Roothy.
Loved every minute of it, Brad.
thanks, Roothy.
Hey, Manny. It's all right, mate. Oh, beautiful. Australia really is the greatest place on earth. And I reckon the Outback is the heart and soul of our country. There's nothing I love better than getting in Milo and driving off into the vast peace and quiet that you only get when you're right out in the bush. And the best thing is, it's just down the end of your street too. So come on, this is where you'll feel the true heartbeat of Australia. Come out here and have a look. Hey, go on, grab a slice of fair dinkum, Australia. Get your dose of Roothy and put a smile on your dial. Righto, here we go.